The Beatles' meteoric rise to fame reached new heights in 1964. Manager Brian Epstein informed the band during their 19-day Paris tour that year that they had secured their first #1 hit in the United States with "I Want to Hold Your Hand," topping the Cashbox charts. After a meteoric rise, the song stayed atop the Billboard Hot 100 for a whole 7 weeks. Brian was of the opinion that they should aspire for worldwide recognition after this triumph. After the Beatles created a splash in Hamburg when they were just starting out, the Berlin record label Odeon Records convinced George Martin and Brian to release German versions of their songs in the hopes that it would increase sales in West Germany. On their way to the Pathé Marconi studio in Paris, the band arrived. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, and George Harrison were not delighted about being requested to record German versions of "She Loves You" and "I Want to Hold Your Hand." Instead, they preferred to stay in the luxury of their hotel. Neil Aspinall answered, "They're in bed, they've decided not to go to the studio," he said. "Because that was their first refusal to help me, I lost it. You must inform them that they must come, else I will be so enraged that it will not be real. It is now my intention to go across." The German and I got in a cab, drove to the hotel, and as I barged into their suite, I was met with this bizarre sight, like something out of Alice in Wonderland. The others clustered around Paul's girlfriend Jane Asher, who had long red hair, as she served tea from a porcelain pot. George boldly declared that the band exploded upon his arrival. While others swooped down onto the couch and huddled beneath pillows, others sprinted for cover behind the drapes. "You feel terrible!" They gave me the silent treatment when I yelled, all smiles and roguish apologies. He remembered that they were on their way to the studio in a matter of minutes. The band rehearsed "Sie liebt dich" and "Komm, gib mir deine Hand" once they returned to the studio. They also recorded Paul's new single, "Can't Buy Me Love," in its early stages. Paul was not happy about the extra labor, especially because it occurred during the Beatles' already rigorous tour, and it was their only recording session that occurred outside of the UK. He said about, "As if 40-odd shows weren't enough, Brian would also arrange all these other duties, like writing and recording sessions." It was a relief for sound engineer Norman Smith to hear that the band was happy to wrap up the recording session. We were all. The studio was really strange to operate in, and the technology was completely different from what we were accustomed to. Despite having to cancel a second studio appointment, they managed to get everything done in just one day. The songs were released by Odeon in March. "I Want to Hold Your Hand," in German, peaked at #1 on the West German charts, and "Sie liebt dich" peaked at #7. Those were the only things they've ever done in a foreign language. George reflected on the German recordings, casting doubt on their usefulness. Plus, it was unnecessary for them to do so. Additionally, he made the comment, "The records would have sold in English, and did."